Glades by Stephen Jansen. This story was originally published in Voices of Imagination 2, an anthology of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. The name's Felton. I've lived in the Glades all my life. Never cared much for Miami and all that murder and clubs and tourists. Can be strange out here, but nothing stranger than what I saw tonight. 'Bout 2 hours ago, I cut the turbofan on the airboat and cruised into an inlet I found a couple of nights back. The sound disappears here real quick, faster and tires over roadkill. I shone the boat's spotlights into the moonlit swamp and paddled the boat in the rest of the way. Sound ain't the only thing that vanishes into this place. Back in '72, Flight 401 went down a few miles from here. Damn mess. The survivors got lucky at first when the swamp mud covered their wounds and stopped them bleeding out, but the Glades got 'em later in life when the toxins and gangrene gas locked in the mud poisoned their bloodstreams. Gators ate the rest of 'em while they were still strapped in the seats. TV didn't mention that part. Still, lots of things stranger than dead folks and plane parts been dumped here. Chemicals add to the gene pool, killing the birds and things. But that's also the reason I'm out here. By trade, I'm killing things out here too. Frog giggin'. Spearing the little green bastards and suppling to my buddy Deke. I get pythons when I can get 'em. Expensive meat on a python. I charge triple for gator on account of danger money, but swamp cabbage is real cheap to harvest. See, my buddy Deke had some strange ideas in his interesting life. Latest being the unusual pizza flavors for his gas station food bar. $14 buys you a 14 pizza with a choice of frog, gator, python or swamp cabbage. Couple of tins of Gatorade and the meal's complete. Sounds to me like it's the nearest folks come to eating shit. Kinda true as well considering what they swim through. I said to Deke, Deke, you think people are gonna eat this? You're a McFlurry short of a Happy Meal. You'd make more money from opening a clinic for frogs with no back legs, the tragic victims of French restaurants. Deke started on about making prosthetic limbs for 'em with springs built in so they could still hop. Deke been drinking his own moonshine. I once sent some of Deke's bathtub gin to a local chemist. It came back with a note attached that told me that my horse was diabetic. Anyways, I digress. So like I says 'bout 2 hours ago I finds the swamp inlet, like a bay in the long weeds. There's frogs living here like I ain't never seen. Big, bug-eyed, more croaking than an old folks home after a flu epidemic. So here I am, 2 a.m., spearing frogs and chopping swamp cabbage to stock up on Deke's pizza toppings. He was right, folks gone crazy for it. Came for miles and ordered pizza. Frog, python, whatever. Business is so good Deke is hiring on guys to get him roadkill. Raccoons and possums. Whole country's gone crazy if you ask me. Out-of-towners are ringing Deke for deliveries as far as Orlando. So here I am spearing frogs. There's a skill to this, you shine a torch into the frog's eyes and it stuns him long enough to spear him. That don't apply tonight. Big old frogs the size of bull toads is sitting real quiet and docile waiting for me to get 'em. I had 15 of the overfed lazy critters in the net inside of no time. Maybe it was the moonlight, but the skin on them frogs didn't look like regular frog skin. I swear they glowed for a few seconds after they left the water. Not one of them swam away from the boat. The flashlight lit up the inlet as I made a turn that went into the weeds a fair way. A lot deeper than I expected. The grass hissed in the night wind and the goosebumps were working with the hairs on the back of my neck, scaring me, worrying me. Something else glinted in the moonlight and I nudged the boat over to it. Canisters. Big drums or oil tanks. But they got the radiation sign stamped on them with the circle and with them 3 fan shapes around it. The drums are split and look like they've been here a long time. The metal gave me a rusty smile half filled with swamp water. I started thinking about how they might have got here and what was in 'em when my cell rang. It was Deke. He sounded loud and worried. He's yelling, Felton. Get back here. We're overrun. He's yelling that he sold out of frog topping an hour ago. They going crazy for this stuff and how they ain't human. Then the call cut and I stare at my phone. What in hell does he want me to do? I'm out here frog gigging and he's got a store full of people buying every kind of pizza on the swamp menu. I swear, sometimes old Deke is as useful as tits on a boar. I pushed away from the oil drums and paddled deeper into the inlet. By the time I got back to Deke's, the crowd would have all gone home anyways. I'm alone here and not comfortable with the sounds coming out of the swamp. A splashing and struggling of birds and squawking like I never heard before. Then silence. No mosquitoes, no bugs, just the wind. Then something hits the boat and I almost drop the phone. I look down and see a snake. Python most likely, but it takes a second to hit me. The patterned skin appears stretched but it ain't, it's because the snake is a monster. As big around as a beer keg. I can see the muscles propelling it through the water next to the boat. I've never seen so much snake. I lost count of how many feet of reptile slid past by the time I'd figured that if I could kill it and drag it ashore, then me and Deke could retire on pizza sales. I've only got the gig and spear, but if I could hit the critter in the brain, maybe I could go and fetch help to get it on land. When the snake has passed I paddle the boat after it. Wouldn't do me no good starting the turbofan, snakes hate vibration and the monster would be out of here like grits off a hot plate. I'm sweating the humid stink of the glades, paddling after the huge python as it spends its way from the inlet and out into the night. Up ahead I can see it devouring garbage and frogs and pale-looking fish. The wake is flowing in small waves as it moves and I'm gaining on the front of the creature. Then I realize it's not moving forward anymore, because it's turned around. The stink of breaking bubbles hits me, a rancid musk of mud and methane, all the shit of everything that ever lived and died here. And the head of the python breaks the surface of the water. A great wet dripping mouth sport and fangs the length of my arms. Breath from hell, worse than the glades on July heat wave, washes over me like the winds of Hades and my instincts take over. I hit the start on the turbofan and drive the boat at a steep turn spraying water and long grass, tearing and accelerating away from that moa. When I get the boat level and head out into the swamp I do something dumb and look back. The python is zeroing on me, its skin like wet tattoos and those porcelain black eyes are merciless shotgun barrels. I jerk the rudder and almost send the boat into the reeds. The boat turns and the snake plunges headfirst into the water, a big stinking wave pushes the vessel forward and out of range of the jaws and I keep going, not stopping until I'm clear out of the area and close to Deke's place. I can see the lights of the gas station and the pizza bar. I cut the turbo and glide to a stop. I'm dripping with swamp water and sweat and I don't feel or smell too good, but the sight of Deke's place calms me down and there's no sign of the giant snake. The spotlight picks out the small jetty where I dock the airboat and my legs are shaken worse than Elvis on coke as I step onto the dusty lot about 100 yards from Deke's. There are at least 40 or 50 cars parked out front. Some of them have the doors open. A back gate is banging and swinging in the wind and there's no sign of a pizza mad crowd Deke was yelling about earlier. No sign of Deke either. No reply when I call his name. Then I see people. At first, I think they are people, but something funny about 'em. Kinda cross between walkin' and hoppin'. I hear a loud croaking and their skins is pushing out a glow that lights 'em up and I see. Then I'm running back to the airboat, jumping aboard and kicking the turbofan to life and I'm gone across the water, hoping I don't run into the snake again. I think about them radioactive oil drums I found and what might have eaten the nearby food, making big frogs out of little ones and bigger snakes for me to catch to give to Deke to put on his pizzas for all the good folks of Florida and other folks calling in for long-distance deliveries to God knows how far away. Maybe as far as the Big Apple by now. I remember that Deke was yelling on the phone that the people in his place ain't human. I never thought to consider that he might have meant it as it sounded. Kinda makes me scared to go ashore.